Andrew McCutcheon's kind of shown the ability to be a five-tool player. What does it mean to lock him up long-term, both for the team and both for that fan's sake? Because I know a lot of fans have the misconception the Pirates automatically trade their best players season in, season out. How did it feel to lock him up just for your own team's sake and for your fans' sake as well?
Well, Andrew was the right player at the right time. We are at a point in time in our progression as a team that's building that we have an opportunity to develop players and then lock those players up for as long as we possibly can, understanding that in this day and age, not every single player is going to spend his entire career with any organization, whether it's the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Philadelphia Phillies, even the Boston Red Sox. Players do move. Free agency is a reality in baseball, and it has been for quite a while. But Andrew is a player that you can build around. He is an outstanding baseball player, and as you mentioned, Zach, certainly a five-tool player, but also he's an outstanding human being and an outstanding representative of the Pittsburgh Pirates in our community. So he was the right player. I was extraordinarily pleased that we were able to reach agreement with Andrew and his representative, and I think maybe as importantly, in terms of our fans who want to see signs of a commitment to winning, a commitment to excellence that we say we have and we continue to preach. Sometimes fans need to see tangible evidence of that, and hopefully that provides some of that. But as important as that is to us, it was also, I think, meaningful that Andrew wanted to stay here. I think some of our detractors also allege that nobody wants to stay here because this has not been a winning situation. Andrew was raised here in our development system. He became an outstanding major league player, even an all-star through our development system, through our training and coaching at the major league level, and he loves Pittsburgh. So it takes a commitment on both sides, and Andrew certainly made that same commitment to us.
You mentioned the commitment to winning here. How important is it to have this young core of players that you do now, not only McCutcheon, but Tavada, Alvarez, Presley now getting his first start up here this year. So how important is it to have these young people, and then you also have a lot of players that are going to be coming up in a matter of months or next couple of years?
Well, Andrew, the way we will build a winning and championship caliber team again in Pittsburgh is through the draft, through the international signings, and then developing those young players through our system and getting them to Pittsburgh, and getting them to Pittsburgh prepared to be a championship caliber player. We won't build a team through free agency. It's just not feasible for us to do. Can we add pieces through free agency? Absolutely, and we've done that in most years, and we did it again this year with Barmas and Barajas and Eric Bedard, who was our opening day starter. But in terms of building a core of a team, it's got to be through our acquisition of young talent. So it's great to see those young players get to Pittsburgh and begin to have a real impact in Pittsburgh, because that's the way we have to build a championship team.
There's all this talk about, okay, there's the fans, there's the basement, basement fans, the fans that just don't come out unless, the typical Pittsburgh fan that comes out when Pittsburgh wins in whatever sport that might be. How is that feeling for you just after that June-July stretch, just having those fans come out to the ballpark again?
Well, it's your characterization, not mine,
yes.
Just for the record.
That's my opinion.
Let me just take on that opinion to some extent, because our fan base has endured more pain than any fan base should ever be asked to endure, and over a longer period of time than any fan base has had to endure. And a large number of people have stuck with us through thick and thin, and most of the time over the last 19 years it's been thin. So I don't ever want to forget that fan, and that fan will be nearest to our heart when we do finally win. On the other hand, we need to build the fan base back to where it can be and even exceed that, and to do that we need to bring people who once were Pirate fans and left out of frustration, anger, disgust. We need to get them back, and then we need to bring in that lost generation, if you will, that people have talked about, of young people like yourselves who didn't have an affinity to baseball because the baseball team wasn't relevant. So all of that is necessary for us to be all we can be in order to get PNC Park to be as vibrant as it was last summer with 17 sellouts. So it was great to see people who hadn't been to PNC Park in a long time or had never been to PNC Park showing up last summer, supporting the team, wearing their McCutcheon Walker jerseys. Great to have them there, but we'll never forget those that have been with us for the entire time.
You mentioned how this team is going to try to build through the draft, and that's really the only way this team is going to be able to. How, in your opinion, how do you feel about the kind of restrictions that the league is now putting on spending-wise for the draft?
Great question. One, we knew this was coming, and it was part of the reason why we were so aggressive over the last 4 years in the draft. And we knew it wasn't going to last forever, so we could devote an inordinate amount of resources to the draft so that, in our view, we selected and signed multiple first-round players, multiple second-round players, multiple third-round players in each of the last 4 years of the draft, knowing that it would not be there forever. Under the new system, we won't be able to do that any longer. There won't be players who will fall and that will be able to be enticed by first-round money, notwithstanding them being selected in the 8th round. So we need to have a new strategy to handle that. But under the new system, unlike the old system where finances, and we were taking advantage of our willingness to spend. Obviously, others could spend much more than we could. You know, if the New York Yankees wanted to blow away the Pittsburgh Pirates in the draft like they do in free agency, they could have done it and likely would have at some point done that. Now the draft will come down to who's got the best scouts, who are out there seeing the players, evaluating the players the right way from a scouting perspective. And I'll put our scouts up against the 29 other club scouts any day of the week. So I think we'll exceed in this system as well. Plus, we'll also have to figure out how to reallocate resources to other areas. There's still the international market, which also now is subject to an aggregate cap. We'll see how all those things work out, but I can tell our fans that we'll continue to spend the resources necessary to bring in the top talent.
I know a lot of just fans in general think that draft-wise, it's just, why isn't this person signed yet? Why isn't this person signed? I'm getting worried, the deadline's coming. What all for those people goes into, I know you can't be specific, but what all goes into signing that draft pick? Because I know specifically there was the whole Pedro Alvarez, Scott Boras versus you is how the media seemed to really paint it. How does that process really go? And I know it has to be at times a very frustrating process.
Yeah, it is frustrating, and principally because the most frustrating part is under the old rules, and this is one change in the rules of the draft system that will be helpful to everybody, and that's moving the signing deadline up to now it will be right around the All-Star game, so mid-July rather than mid-August. The most frustrating part is really not much happens until shortly before the deadline. So while I wish I could tell you that there was a lot of work, negotiations going back and forth for the month and a half, there was really nothing going on in most of those situations until you got right up against the August 15 deadline. And then there was a lot of activity, and fortunately for us, ultimately an agreement reached in each of those cases, whether it be Alvarez from several years ago to Cole and Bell at the deadline this past year. Nothing went on. So now we'll have that deadline moved up a month. These young men can start their professional career in the year in which they're drafted rather than waiting a full year. So Garrett Cole now, unfortunately, is just starting last night, started his professional career, did get some time in not extended, but the instructs last year and then the Arizona Fall League, but really his first real competition as a professional had to wait until this April, and that's a shame. So going forward, those players selected in the draft will be able to get started in what will be essentially a half a season of professional ball, get their feet wet, so that when they come in for their first full year of professional baseball, they'll be much better prepared as a professional.
We know the Pirates are big in the Pittsburgh charity scene. Can you talk a little bit about some of the new stuff that has been planned for this year?
Well, one of our new events this year, we really have two sides of the charity work. One, we put on what I think are pretty fun, exciting events, charity events, where we bring in people to help us raise money, and then we obviously take all the money that we raise from these charity events and from our other fundraisers and then spend that money back into the community. One of our new events this year will be Pedal with the Pirates, a spin event that my wife is helping to lead along with Susan Copen of KDKA TV. There are a lot of people out there that are into spinning, as my wife is, and so we're going to have on May 12th, we're going to have a spin event on Federal Street outside the ballpark, in which we'll have 4 one-hour time slots, 100 spin bikes, guest instructors from the YMCA here in town and from around the region come in and lead an hour of spin class, and we'll have some players out there who will maybe wipe some sweat off the brow of some of our spinners. So that's our new exciting event that we have this year. We have our 5K race coming up in April that is already over 2,000 participants. Last year was the first year of the Pirates Charity 5K home run race. We're looking forward to that. We started with Clint Hurdle, the Wins for Kids program last year, where Clint challenges all of our fans to, as he does, put down an amount in which they're willing to donate to the Wins for Kids program for each Pirate win. And that money is donated then to the Children's Institute, which is doing a lot of great work, and Pirates Charities. So those are some of the exciting things that we have going on this year. We love to be out in the community, whether it's the charitable work that we're doing or the community work that we're doing. Miracle League Fields has been a large focus of the spend that we've made in terms of how we're utilizing the resources that we raise through Pirates Charities. So we help build a field in Cranberry at Graham Park. We go back to those fields and have fantasy camps with the kids. The players love to teach the kids baseball. And we're involved in 4 other projects. While we were down in spring training in the Bradenton, Sarasota area, we had a grand opening of a new Miracle League field that we helped build there with the Baltimore Orioles. We partnered with the Orioles and other partners in that area. We will open one in the South Hills that we partnered with former Major League player and St. Clair resident Sean Casey later on this month. There's one that we're helping to build in Wheeling, West Virginia, and another one in Murraysville. So a terrific relationship between a Major League Baseball team and children with special needs who have always in the past been told that you can't play baseball or you can't play softball. Now they can play the game that they love, and there's really been no other outlet for Pirates Charities resources that has been so gratifying as the Miracle League.
Quickly, we're up against a break. Is there anything you would like to add?
Anything I'd like to add at all? Well, just we're real excited to get this season going, and think that we put in the work during the off season to get a team that can get us to the next level. Clint's motto this spring has been, we need to finish. Obviously we had 2 exciting finishes. I don't think we need to be quite that exciting, but we're looking to have fun at PNC Park all summer long and not have that fun end in July.